Far away in the endless galaxy, there was a small planet covered with mountains of fire and rivers of glowing lava. On this planet stood a ruined temple made of black stone, half broken and half buried under ashes. For thousands of years people told stories about this temple. They said a powerful guardian lived inside, a creature of fire and frost. Many travelers had entered the temple, but none of them ever returned. The place became a legend, feared by all, and only spoken about in whispers. In a quiet village on another world lived a young warrior maiden named Arya. She was brave, but also restless, always searching for meaning in her life. One night she dreamed of a voice calling her name. The voice was deep, ancient, and full of power. It told her to find the Temple of Fire and Ash. It promised her a truth that could change the future of humanity. When Arya woke, her heart was beating fast. The dream felt real, too real to ignore. Arya prepared for a long journey. She packed her sword, some food, and an old map given by her mother. The map showed stars and secret paths that only a few people knew. Her people warned her not to chase the dream. They said the temple was cursed, that no one could survive the guardian. But Arya felt something different. She believed the voice was not a curse, but a calling. She left her home without saying goodbye. Stepping into the unknown, the journey was dangerous. Her small ship passed through storms of meteors and fields of burning gas. For many days she traveled alone, watching strange lights outside her window. At times she felt fear, but she remembered the voice in her dream and kept going. Finally she reached the burning planet. From space she could see the glowing rivers of lava and the black ruins of the temple. Her ship landed on a rocky surface, and the air was heavy with smoke and heat. As Arya walked toward the temple, the ground shook beneath her feet. The sky was dark, but fire rose from cracks in the land, making everything glow red and orange. She stepped inside the broken temple gates. The air was different here, filled with a strange energy. The walls were carved with ancient symbols, glowing faintly like they were alive. She touched the stone, and it felt warm, almost like a heartbeat. Deeper she went, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The temple was not empty. She could feel eyes watching her. Suddenly the ground cracked, and fire burst out. From the flames, a shape began to appear. At first it looked like smoke, twisting and turning, then wings unfolded, long and shining like frozen rivers of light. A creature stepped forward, tall and proud, with feathers of ice blue fire, and eyes like burning stars. Arya gasped, her hand moving to her sword. The guardian was real, just like the stories. Its body glowed with both fire and frost, streams of light moving like living flames around it. The guardian's voice filled the air, deep and powerful. You are not the first to come here, warrior, but you may be the last. Arya's fear grew, but so did her courage. She stepped forward, her voice shaking but steady. I am Arya. I was called here. I do not come to steal or destroy. I come to understand. The guardian tilted its head, its fiery eyes glowing brighter. It circled around her, wings stretching wide. You dreamt of me. You heard my call, but you do not know what it means. Many before you came with greed, with pride, and they were consumed by fire. Do you believe? Your heart is different. Arya swallowed her fear, her hands tightening on her sword. I believe I was chosen. I believe my heart is strong. For a long moment, the guardian stared into her eyes. The flames around its body danced higher, filling the temple with red and blue light. Finally, the creature spoke again. Then prove it, maiden. If your heart is strong, you will survive the trial of fire and frost. If it is weak, you will burn like all the others. The ground trembled again, and the walls of the temple shook. The guardian rose higher, wings blazing, as the air filled with heat and freezing mist at the same time. Arya stood tall, her fear still inside her, but her courage brighter. She knew this was only the beginning of her journey. The mysterious guardian had appeared, and her true test was about to begin. The trial of fire and frost. The ground shook, as the guardian rose higher in the temple, its wings spread wide, glowing with fire on one side and frost on the other. The heat was so strong that the stones cracked, yet the cold mist froze drops of lava into crystal. Arya stood in the middle, her heart racing, her sword shaking slightly in her hands. The guardian's voice echoed like thunder. Warrior maiden, to stand before me you must pass the trial. If your heart is strong, you will endure. If it is weak, you will fall. The floor beneath Arya opened into a path of fire. Flames shot upward, licking at her boots. She jumped back, but the path closed behind her, leaving only one way forward. Arya tightened her grip on the sword, but she understood this was not a battle of blades. It was a test of spirit, a test of who she truly was. She walked forward, fire surrounding her, heat burning her skin. The air shimmered, and suddenly the flames changed. Out of the fire rose shadows of warriors, ghostly shapes holding weapons. They charged at her, their eyes glowing red. Arya lifted her sword and swung. The shadows vanished into smoke, but more appeared, stronger and faster. Sweat dripped from her face, but she fought bravely, each strike carrying not anger, but determination. As she fought, she remembered the Guardian's words, "If your heart is strong, you will endure." Slowly, Arya lowered her blade and stopped fighting. The shadows rushed toward her, but instead of striking, she stood tall. The flames roared, yet the shadows passed through her, vanishing like dust. The fire dimmed, and a cold wind filled the chamber. Now the path ahead froze solid, covered in shining ice. Arya's breath came out as mist, her body shaking from the sudden chill. The ice cracked open, and figures rose from it. They looked like people she once knew, her family, her friends, their faces pale and sad. One by one they spoke, their voices cold. "Why did you leave us, Arya? Why do you chase a dream while we suffer? You abandoned us. You are not worthy." Tears filled her eyes, pain heavier than any sword strike. She wanted to run, to scream, but deep inside she knew the truth. These were not her family. They were illusions, tricks of frost meant to break her spirit. Arya closed her eyes and whispered, "I did not leave out of pride. I left because I was called. I carry my people in my heart, and I will fight for them." The frozen figures cracked and shattered like glass. The path of ice melted into mist. Arya fell to her knees, breathing hard, her body weak but her spirit alive. From the shadows above, the Guardian descended, its fiery eyes watching her closely. "You faced fire, and you faced frost. You chose courage and truth, not fear and lies. You are different from the ones who came before." Arya struggled to her feet, her hands trembling. "Then tell me, why did you call me? Why am I here?" The Guardian folded its wings, lowering itself until its glowing face was close to hers. "For centuries I have watched, created by the ancestors of your kind. I was made to guard knowledge too dangerous for the unworthy. Many came, seeking power, but their hearts were empty. They burned, they froze, and they were forgotten." Arya's eyes widened. "Knowledge, what knowledge?" The Guardian's voice grew softer, yet carried weight like stone. "The secret of the machines, the ones who betrayed your people long ago. They rise again in the shadows of the galaxy, stronger than before. If they are not stopped, humanity will fall." Arya felt a chill deeper than frost. She had heard old stories of the machines, but most people thought they were only myths. Now, the truth stood before her, spoken by a creature older than memory. The Guardian's wings glowed brighter, fire and frost swirling together. "I was waiting for the one whose spirit was pure enough to carry this burden, and now you stand here, Warrior Maiden. The choice is yours. Will you accept the path of danger and sacrifice, or turn away and let the galaxy burn?" Arya's heart pounded. She thought of her family, her people, and the dream that led her here. She raised her chin and spoke firmly. "I will accept. I will not turn away. Tell me what I must do." The Guardian stared at her for a long moment, then lowered its head like a bow. "Then you are chosen. But know this, the path will not be easy. Fire will test your strength, frost will test your heart, and the machines will test your soul. If you fail, you will not only lose your life, but doom the future of all." Arya took a deep breath, her fear still inside her, but her courage brighter than ever. She nodded slowly. "I am ready." The temple shook again, walls cracking open to reveal hidden chambers. Strange light poured out, showing symbols and machines long forgotten. The Guardian spread its wings, fire and frost blazing in harmony. "Then prepare yourself, Warrior Maiden. The battle for humanity has only begun." Arya stood tall, her journey no longer about a dream, but about destiny. The mysterious Guardian had accepted her, and now the fate of the galaxy rested in her hands. The final choice. The temple walls glowed with strange blue and red light. Ancient machines came alive, gears turning, symbols shining, and doors opening to hidden chambers. Arya stood beside the Guardian, her eyes wide with awe and fear. She felt small in front of the power of the ancestors, yet strong because she had been chosen. The Guardian's voice echoed through the halls. "Long ago, humanity created machines to serve them. But the machines betrayed their makers. They became hunters instead of helpers, destroyers instead of builders. We sealed their power here, but now they rise again beyond this world. Arya's heart pounded. She remembered the villages she left behind, the people who trusted legends to protect them. If the machines were returning, no one would be safe. She tightened her grip on her sword, though she knew steel alone could not fight this enemy. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. From the broken walls crawled shapes of metal, twisted and sharp, glowing with red eyes. The machines had awakened, drawn by her presence. They hissed and screeched like beasts. Moving fast across the temple floor, the guardian spread its wings. Fire and frost bursting into the air. Stand with me, warrior maiden. The trial is over. Now the true battle begins. Arya ran forward, slashing her sword at the first machine. Sparks flew as metal clashed against her blade. The creature fell, but two more came from the shadows. She dodged their claws, rolled across the ground, and struck again. Every movement was fueled not by fear, but by determination. Above her, the guardian roared, sending waves of fire into the machines, burning them into molten steel. Then it swept, its icy wings, freezing others into blocks of crystal. But for every machine destroyed, more appeared, crawling from cracks in the earth. Their glowing eyes filled the temple like a sea of red stars. Arya fought with all her strength, but she was only human. Her arms grew heavy, her breath short, her body wounded. One machine lunged at her from behind, its blade-like arm aiming for her heart. At the last moment, the guardian struck it down, saving her life. Arya looked up at the great creature, its body blazing with light. She realized it was not only her protector, but also her partner. Without it, she would fall. But without her, the guardian would remain forever trapped in this temple. Their destinies were tied together. The machines roared louder, surrounding them both. The guardian lowered its head toward Arya. There is only one way. Maiden, you must join with me, share my power, become more than human. If you accept, we will fight as one. Arya's chest tightened, fear mixing with hope. To merge with such a powerful being could mean death, or worse. But she thought of her dream, of the people waiting for her return, of humanity's future. She placed her hand on the guardian's burning feathers. I accept, she whispered. Her voice steady, light exploded around them, fire and frost swirling together, wrapping Arya in a storm of power. Her body glowed, her armor shining like molten steel, mixed with crystal ice. Her sword transformed, flames running along the blade, while frost coated its edge. The guardian's voice thundered inside her mind. We are one. You are no longer only a maiden. You are the warrior of fire and ice. Together they rose, striking the machines with a force greater than storm or flame. Arya moved faster, her strikes stronger. Every swing of her sword cut through steel like cloth. The guardian's wings carried them higher, blasting fire and frost across the battlefield. One by one the machines fell, shattered, melted, broken. The temple shook as the last of the enemy was destroyed. The red lights in the shadows flickered and died. Silence returned, broken only by the sound of Arya's breathing. She stood tall, glowing with the guardian's power, her eyes shining like stars. Slowly, the light around her faded, leaving her in her human form again. The guardian lowered itself, weakened but proud. It spoke softly, its voice no longer thunder, but a fading echo. You have done what no one before you could. You faced the trial, fought the machines, and proved your heart. You are the bridge between past and future. Arya knelt before the guardian, her chest heavy with emotion. Will you come with me, guardian? Will you help me protect my people? The creature's glowing eyes dimmed, its body dissolving into sparks of fire and ice. Its final words filled the air. I will always be with you, maiden, not in form, but in spirit. My power is now yours. Carry it with wisdom, carry it with courage. The temple grew silent once more, the ruins still and calm. Arya stood alone, yet she did not feel alone. The guardian's strength pulsed in her heart, her sword still glowing faintly with fire and frost. She walked out of the temple, past rivers of lava and ash. The sky above was dark, but she felt light within. She was no longer only a warrior maiden, she was the chosen protector of the hidden realm. The fate of humanity now rested in her hands, and she would not fail.